Morning to one and all. In the previous class, we discussed about different kinds of rollers. That means normally we are having flat type rollers, sheep footed rollers, and vibratory rollers and others. Those things we discussed briefly with different kinds of images and others. What type of roller is suitable for which kind of land, up to what surface they have to use. All those are discussed in the previous class. After that, we are having some sort of liquidity, that means physical and chemical modifications, and we are seeing this hydraulic modification of the soils also. Particularly in this hydraulic modification of soil, so we are mainly focused on dewatering of particular area. That means in some of the cases, before going to construct a particular soil, we have to face some amount of water which will be staggered on the particular site level, so that it will have some amount of obstruction while we have to go to construction, so that in the primary case itself we need to remove all the water present in the particular site, and what are the greenery is present in the particular site, like other waste trees and others. All those we need to remove. After the removal of total water and whatever the vegetation present in the particular soil or strata, we need to go for our construction works, and some sort of small modification techniques, whatever they require on those particular soils, those also will be done by using these different mechanisms, physical mechanisms, and rolling mechanisms, and other hydraulic mechanisms and others. In some cases we have to use these chemical additives like this lime, hydraulic lime, and cementitious materials, and few naturally occurring soils which are having these properties for filling materials. And next one we have to use is as a industrial wastes as a other alternative materials to change the ground properties. All those are example. These are the preheating methods and soil stabilizations, and freezing and thawing methods also. Freezing means we have to use some sort of liquid solidifiers to solidify the whatever water is lies above the soil, so that it will be easy to remove. Next one we are having, we need to focus on this modification by using this inclusion of confinement of reinforcement. That means the reinforcement is normally, this reinforcement is mainly used in the particular mechanism to strengthen the soils and others. This reinforcement means normally reinforcement is used to distribute the stresses developed in a particular body, so that that will be a crack free structure. Normally concrete is good in compression and weak in tension. Likely we are having different kinds of soils, they are having good sorts of these binding properties. While in case of any lateral forces are applied on those materials, there will be breakage of those particular soils. Likely we have to use these kind of other additive materials like as a confinement reinforcement in those particular soils to improve the soil properties. In those first one we are having is the fiber. Fiber means an extra additive which is added to the particular material to strengthen the bond between different layers and different particles. That means normally in the cement materials we are using these different kinds of fibers like steel fibers, glass fibers, crippled fibers, and polypropylene fibers, and other plastic fibers, and other synthetic materials we are using as a these fiber materials to strengthen the particular concrete. Likely in the geotechnical purpose also we need to improve the ground strength. We are using here some sort of fiber like materials to strengthen the particular soil, to remove or to eject the some sort of these lateral forces which are applying on the particular soil materials. Next one we are having strips. Strips means normally in the beams and columns we are using these strips like materials like lateral ties and these strips, okay, to strengthen the particular reinforcement, we are using these strips to prevent buckling and crippling and shearing. In normally beams we are having this kind of shear forces. To neglect those shear forces we are using these stirrups, but in case of columns, to prevent the buckling forces we are using these lateral ties. Likely in these strips also, in the case of these ground improvement techniques we are using, that means to prevent likely forces in beams and columns we are having this shear and buckling forces. Likely these also included in the some sort of soils also. So that to prevent those kind of stresses included in the soils, we need to use these strips like materials particularly. Next ones we are having bars. Normally this bars word is used in the RCC, in the field of mainly design of these footings, slabs and other mainly parts of the these buildings. That means in buildings we are having main structural parts are, first one is the slab. That means the total slab will be having a load on it. That means the total load have to bear by the slab. After that slab we are having beam like materials, like beam like joints and others. After that we are having columns. After that we are having these foundation. Likely in small cases we are having these footings and other lintels, small scale of arches and other also. Those are the small lateral parts of the building. These are the main parts of the building. So that all those parts we are having mainly steel as a major material to transfer the stresses from one part of the building to another part of the building, so that there will be a crack free structure by using this steel as a material. Likely in the soils also there may be some sort of linkage from one layer to another layer. If there is any disturbance between the layers, automatically shear will be occurred on those particular layers. The total layer will be run off easily whenever there is a huge amount of storms and other rainy conditions and others which are applied on the particular soil material. So that to avoid those kind of unevenness or irregularities in those particular soils, we need to use these bars like materials to create a proper bond between those. Next one we are having meshes. Normally these meshes are used in the buildings also for a small scale of structures like our mesh doors and others. That means after the construction of the building, a small repairs and others are occurring in a particular sort of buildings. So by using these meshes and others, they have to use some kind of repair techniques by using these meshes. Next one we are having fabrics. That means small scale of fabric means normally this word is included with these cotton like materials, fabrics. Normally in our cloth like in the cloth industry like that we are having this fabrics word came, so that these fabrics are used to jacketing purpose for a different structures. If there is any faulty design or if any other cracks developed in the particular joints, so that to fill those joints by using these fabric like materials by using some amount of glue or bonding materials like cement and other silica gel, all those are gluey structures. With the help of these fibers, those gluey structures, we have to repair the buildings. All those are modification. That means from a small quantity of modification means we need to use some small forces or some small values to entire structure, so that the modification will occur. So that these are five are the modification materials used in the particularly different kinds of structures. In situ reinforcement is achieved by nails and anchors. Nails means normally nail is a word. Nail means a small sort of finger like material, that not fingers in hilly areas like that, to cover the top area and to control the erosion. We are using these nail and other anchor like materials. Next one we are having is the suitability, feasibility and desirability. Suitability means whatever the material suits for the particular sand. And feasibility, that means it is a cheaply occurring material or any other. That means it entirely depends upon the cost feasibility properties. Next one, desirability. That means it will withstand with the surrounding temperatures and others. Is it desirable or not? That means from the surrounding or local conditions, is it desirable? Means that it will works on the particular soil strata or any other atmospheric pressures or any other water vapor or temperature conditions nearby the structures, and whatever the problems they are having, all those are comes under these desirability features. First one, we are having the choice of the method of the ground improvement depends upon the many factors. That means many factors means those who are having on the particular site itself, all those factors will be evaluated from the site itself. Those factors will be, first of all, we are having a type of the degree of the improvement required. Improvement means normally we are having certain value for those particular soil. We need to improve the soil properties. That means we have to change the property with some amount of increment. That means normally we are getting A grade or B grade in the particular examination itself. We need to increase our grade by B to A or A to S, S to O. Likely we have to increase the properties of the soils from certain level to certain level. If there is a maximum level, we need to have over maximum. That means we have certain amount of over levels of the properties. Likely we have to improve the properties of the soil by using these stability, feasibility and desirability techniques. Next one, we are having the type of the soil and geological structure. That means soil. Now normally we have faced different kinds of soils: sandy soils, silty soils, clay soils, and different granular soils like other, depending upon the particle size and chemical content present in the particular soils, we are classified into different fields. That means depending upon those, we are classified the types of soils. Next one we are having is geological structure. That means in the geological structures itself, we need to go to engineering geology. That means whatever the structure we are having, is it is a fold or fault or any other unconformities, or it may be any irregular pattern, how it is was look like, what is the depth of the structure, all those we need to have take. After that we have to use, is it here, what type of rock it was, is it a igneous rock or sedimentary rock or metamorphic rock, what are the surrounding atmospheric features. That means features was, it is a humidity conditions are there or over heat is there, like normal summer conditions are there. Likely we have to we have to observe the surrounding atmosphere and site conditions. After that all the observations are over, we need to take some amount of accountability of particular soil. That means what are the features, what is the type of the soil, what are the properties, what kind of situations we have to face. That means is there any frequent rains or storms or any other economic unprecedented atmospheric features are there. All those are comes under these properties and types of the soils. Next one we are having is the seepage conditions. That means this seepage conditions is mainly depend upon the particle size and grain size of the particular soil strata. This also comes under type of the soil. Particularly we are having a different kinds of the soils and different types of the soils. After that we need to take these seepage conditions also. Why? Because these seepage conditions mainly depending upon the slope. That means మనకి వాలు అంటాం మన తెలుగులో, the slope of the particular ground. If the slope of the particular ground is normal to the ground level, that means water will particularly stagnate on those surface. If the slope is like somewhat inclined to the ground, that means automatically water will be drained off from the particular ground surface. Likely we are having different kinds of slopes and others. Though slope is the main feature of these seepage conditions. If the slope is zero, that means water has to stay on the surface. If the slope is somewhat value, automatically water will be flowing from that surface to another surface. Likely water will travels from one place to another place without stagging, means there is a huge amount of slope. Normally this slope can be observed in hilly areas. Mainly we are observed the slope in hilly areas. Like that we are having a different seepage properties in these seepage conditions in hilly areas and other desirable areas. Those three are the main factors we need to observe. Suitability, that means whatever the fibers or whatever the compactions, whatever the chemicals we have to use, those are the suitability. Next one is the feasibility. Those are how much cost it was, it is feasible to the particular soil or not. Next one, desirability, how much time it will last on that particular surface. All those are the affecting features for those particular surfaces. Next one we are having is the size of the project may be decisive. That means the size of the project. If the project size is very low, that means it is suitable to 1 or 2 acres or 1 or 2 hectares. That means it is a small scale project and we need to use some sort of less kind of work. If the project is lies on some sort of 10 or hundreds of acres, so that we need to take a huge amount of preventive measures and other socio-economical conditions for that project. That means hundreds of acres means it will depends upon so much of farmers and surrounding soils also we are having to face a huge amount of problems. So that we have to face some socio-economical conditions. What are the project conditions? Is there any effects onto the nearer fields? What are the drainage problems onto the soils? All those are accountable to the project. Next one we are having is the availability of equipment and materials and the quantity of work required. That means availability of equipment. For suppose we are having a construction company, we are having some amount of projects for particular span of time. Likely every project has to complete a particular time period. That means depending upon the project cost and money available, so that the total project will be depends upon time period. If the time period is very less, that means we need to use huge amount of equipment and workmanship. The time period is very huge, that means we have to use some less quantity of the material to save the money and others. So that first of all we need to focus on availability of the equipment. Whatever the equipment we are having, is there any bulldozers or any other cranes or any other equipments like draining equipments or filling equipments or cranes, whatever we have to require, we need to first of all notice depending upon the project cost and site availability. Next one is the materials and the quantity of workmanship. That means material is the major key role on the particular project. We are having money but no material, that means waste of the project. Likely we are having now huge amount of material and money but there is no workmanship, means automatically there will be a time delay to the particular project. So that all those are accountable to the project. What are those? Equipment is the accountability, materials are accountable, quantity is the accountable, and next one is the workmanship required. All those are accounting parameters for a particular project. Next one is the construction time available. All those are one kind. Next to construction time is one kind. That means if the construction time is very much high, that means for a particular project we are having 6 months of duration, we are having less quantity of equipment, means we need to face some sort of problems. If the project time is 1 to 2 years and project we are having a huge amount of material, means that also comes under one side sort of problem. Likely we have to face different problems in different site conditions and site parameters. Next one we are having is the possibility of damage to the adjacent structures. That means if you are constructing a particular large building, that means the building is related to 10 to 20 stories. That means the surrounding structures also we have to see. That means if there is any clashing to the particular surrounding structures, that means if there is any clashing, means automatically they will file a case against us because they are causing some sort of disturbance and noise levels. All those are causing some sort of unevenness to the particular surrounding people. So thus they have to claim a case against us. So that we need to take what is the possible amount of damage occurring to the particular surrounding structures. Is there any preventive measures we need to take? How much time we have to work on a particular site? At what time there will be a less quantity of workmanship on those particular relevant sites? All those we need to observe. Next one is pollution or groundwater resources. That means in the main one related to city structures, that means in the city structures itself we are having huge amounts of buildings and others in the nearby structure, so that they will cause some sort of noise disturbance and other vehicular disturbance the while the material is loading and pumping of concrete and laying of this steel and other materials, and we have to face some amount of these shuttering works and others. After all those are causing some amount of noise disturbances to the surrounding structures. But in case of other village areas or any other hilly areas, we are having the particular project like our bridges and dams and others. While constructing those bridges and dams like structures, we have to use plenty of water for curing purpose and for mixing purpose, and some site conditions we have to use, so that there may be a huge amount of waste coming from the our project, so that all those are accountable to those environmental pollution. That means normally pollution can be occurred in terms of noise pollution. In some cases we have to use these construction while we have to use some amount of blastings also. In those blastings also we have to use some amount of ground damage, and while the blasting is done, automatically the density of the air will be increases up to some level due to these some scale of particles which are coming to the atmosphere. And the next one we are having is the groundwater pollution. That means is there any related to particular ponds and other lakes, automatically the waste coming from our project will be goes on to those, and they will cause pollution to those groundwater resources which are lying nearer to the structure. So that we need to take care about all of those, and we have to do a positive construction such that the features will not be causing any disturbance to the surrounding structures. We will go as many as positive features. Next one we are having is the durability of the material involved. That means durability means durable. That means it will have to withstand for a large span of period. That is called as a durability. If the construction having a less quantity of materials, and we are having a those undurable, that means those having less quantity of time period. If we are having a huge amount of material having less quantity, means the total project will be wastes. Likely we have to focus on mainly durability. That means we are spending a huge amount of crores of money onto the project, so that we have to focus on mainly these durability conditions. If the durability is high, automatically we have to earn a huge amount of profit on the structure. Next one is the toxicity and corrosivity of the any chemical. That means normally toxicity and corrosivity. Toxicity is related to the water and other binding materials which are used to the construction, and corrosivity and other chemicals related to this steel and other materials which are used in the construction. Next one, additives. What are the additive techniques? The government regulations and other restricts advise additives. That means the advices provided by the surrounding regulation authorities like our Indian Green Councils and other things. We are having IGBA chapters and other, all of those have to monitor likely the structures, what are the impact factors coming to the structures, how we have to negotiate those impact factors, and we have to build any other reclamations to the surrounding people and others. First one is the reversibility or irreversibility of the process. Reversibility means that means we have come from one point to another point. That means end condition to starting condition. Reversibility and irreversibility, those depends upon those two conditions. That means if there is any pollutions are there, automatically we have to manufacture those components in the industry itself. We need to assemble in the site. Those are comes under this reversibility and irreversibility conditions. Next one is the reusability of the components. That means reusable of the components. We are having a huge amount of construction waste coming from the construction industry, that we are having a huge amount of structures after the lifespan is over. For suppose a bridge is constructed 100 years back, the lifespan of the bridge is 90 years. After the 90 years we have to demolish the total bridge and we need to construct a new bridge for the transportation purpose. So that for the in the demolition period we are having a huge amount of waste material, like in the form of iron and other binding scrap and any other vehicular any other steel scrap, all those are coming from the industry, from the particular bridge. So that we need to reuse those material up to some level, minimum 30 to 40% of the materials we have to reuse, so that the project cost will also reduces and it will be a eco-friendly technique. So that we have to reuse the particular materials which are availability on the particular fields. Next one is the reliability of the method of analysis and design. That means reliability of the method of analysis and design. That means if we design for a particular structure for a 10 stories or 12 stories, or if I design for a particular dam to store the water, is there any feasibility for increasing the dam height? If we increase the dam height, automatically the surrounding villages will be having a trouble, particularly in the rainy seasons like others. So that depending upon those reliability conditions, we need to reanalyze our structure and we need to redesign our the structure by increasing or decreasing up to some amount of height, so that it will be useful for the surrounding parameters like forests and other villages and others. It completely depends upon the reliability methods and analysis of the structures. Next one we are having is the feasibility of the construction control and performance of measurements. Feasibility of the construction control. Feasibility means we are having some amount of grip on those construction control. That means whatever the work we have to do on a particular time span, we are having some feasible time, so that within the time span we are constructing the all our work and we use some sort of time. And the performance measurements, recently in the few years back we done a achievement in Polavaram like and others in a single span of time. That means within the 24 hours we have done a huge amount of cubic meters of concrete was laid on the particular Polavaram project and others. That is the comes under this feasibility of the construction and performance measurements. That is the main example for those feasible constructions and performance measurements, that comes under those feasibility and performance of the measurements. Next one is the depends upon this feasibility of the particular method strongly related to the type of problems in the hand. That means whenever we are constructing a particular part of a project, not overall the project. First of all, we need to complete a overall project. We have to take a few parts. That means first of all, in the first stage we need to complete the particular element. After that the element is linked with the another element. In a total construction of a building, we have to take first part, we need to do some amount of groundwork. After the completion of the groundwork, we need to check the alignments of the particular lands and we need to use some amount of material on the particular strata to equilibrium conditions, up to equilibrium conditions of particular level. After that we need to do for foundation. After the foundation we'll have to go for plinth level. After the plinth level we have to go for columns. After that we need to go for shuttering work and slab. After that we have to go for some partition walls, windows and doors. And next one we need to go for this brickwork. Likely in the construction of a building itself we are having different parts, those are interconnected one to one, so that we need to take those feasibility and different condition. First of all, whatever the hand we are having is a foundation. That means the foundation we need to make on a particular soil strata. For laying those kind of foundation we need to do some sort of earthwork. After the completion of the earthwork and leveling work, we need to do this foundation. And the next stage after foundation we are having is the embankment on the soft ground. That means after the foundation is over, we need to fulfill the soil by using some inert materials, non-organic materials and inert materials, by filling the spaces in between the foundation level, okay, up to some soft ground. Next one, we have to maintain an unstable slope and an excavation, earth retaining structures, leaking dam or reservoir. All those are related to a construction of a particular dam project. In the previously we discussed about a particular construction of a building, but here we are having a dam construction process. That means in the dam itself the foundation is the major role, because a huge amount of concrete structure has to stand by the force of water, which has a lateral force. That means water will stagger on the back side of the particular dam, which will create a particular force on the toe of the particular dam, so that the toe will have to withstand with a huge amount of force applying on those, so that we need to have some sort of good foundation itself. Normally for dam like structures we have to use some large piles and others. That means piles are already you are learnt in the geotechnical engineering itself. In final year we are having GTE2. In those GTE2 we are having these piles designs and others in the foundation itself. The next one we are having is the embankment on the soft ground. That means embankment. After the construction of the foundation is over, we need to level the surface by constructing a proper embankment. That means what is the purpose of embankment means, if there is no any solid construction on the ground level, the water will stagger on the particular soil. By the intrusion and extrusion of these soils, automatically the foundation will be weakened, so that we need not to have some amount of intrusion of water into the ground level, so that we need to have some amount of embankment on the soft ground to negotiate this entrainment of the water. That is the main purpose of this construction of the embankments and others. In the side levels, in the plinth levels, we are having a huge amount of the side levels means in the side parts of the particular dam we are having these embankments. In the bottom level also we are having some sort of groundwork to control this entrainment of particular water. And next one is the unstable slope. That means unstable slope of the particular dam. That means dam is to withstand a huge amount of water force. To withstand those amount of water force, we need to have some amount of slope maintained. Why? Because if there is no slope, automatically the dam will be overturned by the effect of these water forces, which are having huge amount while they are in a peak condition of the storms and others. To negotiate those kind of forces, we have to maintain some unstable slopes and others. Next one, an excavation. Excavation means normally this excavation is the primary work while we have to go for a construction. After the foundation level and others, we need to go for some sort of excavation. If there is any materials or to increase the dam capability and capacity, we have to go for some sort of excavation. And the next one we are having is the earth retaining structures. That means the total earth will be under some pressure, and the force of water will be applied on this earth structure, so that due to those applied forces the earth may be so weakened. To strengthen those earth surfaces, we have to go for these earth retaining structures nearer to the particular dam and other water tightening structures. Next one is a leakaging dam or reservoir. That means if there is any leakage on those particular dam or reservoirs, we have to take some amount of precautionary measures. Suppose the dam is having full capacity with water, so that if any leakage in the dam, we need to divert the total amount of water into a partial structure, so that up to certain limit the water has to store in those particular reservoir or dam. After that we need to divert those water into canals and other fields, particular agricultural purpose and drinking purpose and other urbanization works also. This is the particular feasibility measures we have to use in a particular construction measures. Next one is the traditional objectives and emerging trends aim for the improving of soils as a foundation or construction materials. Why? Because we are discussing a huge amount of topics related to this ground improvements. We are not go too deep. Why? Because in the first chapter itself we have to go for a brief enlargement and a brief explanation about the subject. After that we are having a huge amount of applications in the second chapter itself. What is the draining methods, what is the different kinds of reinforcement to the soils, and underwater bore levels. After that, we are having a ground top layer improvements and bottom layer improvements. All those are studied in the upcoming chapters. So that in the first chapter, we need to know what is the importance, what are the major fields of application of these ground improvement techniques. All those are we studied in the first chapter itself. So that somewhat of extra explanation should be needed to understand this subject, such that foundational construction materials we are having. First one, increase the strength, reduce credibility. That means we need to increase the particular material or particular project strength by reducing credibility. That means with a short span of volume, we have to go for a huge amount of strength. That is the main theme of the first point. That means credibility. Second one, we have to use the reduce distortion under stress. That means reduce distortion under stress means we need to increase the stress strain modulus. That means high strength materials we need to use. There may be a huge amount of stress strain distribution between the interparticles. That means interparticles means if there is a concrete RCC structure, in the RCC structure itself we are having two different materials like steel and concrete. If there is a stress distribution between steel and concrete is up to certain limit, the structure will withstand for a huge amount of lifespan. If there is no particular stress distribution between the steel and concrete, automatically the cracks will form because of this concrete having huge amount of compressive strength. It doesn't having tensile strength. If there is any tensile force applied on the concrete, that means automatically the top layer and the bottom layers will show these cracks and others. Why? Because of these tensile forces are not beared by the concrete itself. In some cases, we are having tension forces applied on this particular steel. Automatically, this buckling and crippling occurs in a particular bridges. In the next nearly in the railway stations also, we are having huge amount of steel structures we have to see, like lacings, columns, battens, and designs and other things also. We are having huge amount of steel structures in these railway structures and other industrial structures. Why? Because industries has to spend a huge amount of steel materials. After the end of the industry also, they have earning a huge amount of profit by selling all the steel and other materials which are lying on those areas, so that they have choosing huge amount of steel material in these industrial areas. Next one we are having is a reduce compressibility. That means whatever the forces acting on the structure we need to reduce, because of if there is an extreme compressibility actions, automatically the structure will weaks automatically. Next one is a control shrinkage and swelling. That means control the shrinkage. This shrinkage and swelling in what state we have to obtain means automatically if there is any entrainment of water onto the below layers of the particular soil, due to this entrainment of water, the swelling capacity and shrinkage capacity will be increases onto the particular soil. We need to avoid those shrinkage and swelling. Because of the shrinkage and swelling, unevenness will comes onto the particular soil strata. That means in some of the stages, in some x direction we are having some sort of distribution. That means soil will be in a particular direction. In y direction we are having some sort of height, so that there may be the unevenness in the foundation level itself, so that there may be a cracks coming onto the structure. Next one we are having is the control feasibility to reduce water pressure, reduce seepage. This is also directly proportional to the fourth point, shrinkage and swelling. That means the shrinkage and swelling is directly proportional to this entrainment of water. That means permeability means if there is water, automatically there may be a permeability. Likely we are having to reduce the water pressure means normally in a dams and other structures we are having water pressure from one direction. If there is a downward direction of water means automatically the seepage and other things comes. Automatically we have to face a huge amount of problems by this water pressure and others. Next one we are having is prevent detrimental physical and chemical changes due to environmental conditions. That means these environmental conditions in few of the places of our country, we are having a huge amount of temperature changes. In the morning itself, we are having some amount of 40 plus temperature. In the evening itself, they are reducing to 20 degrees and 10 degrees like that. Mainly these kind of situations we are facing in Rajasthan and other things, other states. Likely in our Tamil Nadu also, due to these coastal areas, we are having huge amount of temperature changes we are daily facing. Whenever there is a storms and others, we have to face some amount of 20 degrees and 18 degrees temperatures, particularly in winter areas, winter seasons. Particularly in we have a summer season, we have to face some amount of 45 degrees plus degrees. Due to those temperature variations, there may be a sustainability in the dams. That means a sustainable degradation. Likely we have to, whenever there is a water, we need to compare with our body. There may be some amount of additional forces will be having in our like temperature. Automatically, if there is a temperature, means automatically our body will sweats easier because of those overheating. Automatically, if there is a huge amount of winter season, we have some amount of some positive fever or like atmosphere temperature will be rising in our body. Likely there are also some amount of stresses and abundant variations will occur in the particular dams and other bodies, so that we need to take care of those by regular monitoring of those structures in particularly different kinds of areas and different temperature levels itself, so that a engineer will be having to monitor those bridge conditions and dam conditions. They have engineer work is what is the condition of the work bridge, particular bridge, is there any difficulties facing by a bridge, how we have to eliminate those difficulties by engineering principles and some chemical mixtures, so that we have to daily monitor the structure. Next one, reduce the sustainability of liquefaction. This liquefaction means whenever the water is entered into the subsurface conditions, automatically the voids will be attracts this water and the total structural profile will be changes automatically due to the entrainment of huge amount of water. This kind of situation is called liquefaction. Due to this liquefaction techniques, a huge amount of structures are facing cracks. That means మనకి cracks అనేవి కూడా ఎక్కువగా వస్తూ ఉంటాయి కొన్ని స్ట్రక్చర్స్లో. Why? Because this liquefaction and entrainment of water into the substructures, because of there is no proper ground improvement to the particular structure, automatically there may be a chance of these liquefactions and other swelling parameters, shrinkage parameters. So that to reduce all of those swelling parameters, shrinkage parameters and other atmospheric conditions, liquidity and these liquefaction techniques, we need to have some proper ground improvement techniques to reduce all of those forces, to negotiate all of those. This is the main importance. Next one is the reduce the natural variability of borrow materials or foundation soils. That means borrow materials, natural variability of borrow materials. We need to reduce the natural variability of borrow materials. Borrow materials means in some of the cases we are transferring a particular kind of material to different fields, so that for the filling purpose. That means in some of the cases we are using definitely filling purpose of different materials, so that we need to avoid those filling kinds of purposes by using these materials and foundation soils. We have a proper engineering principles and design methods, particularly in case of these foundation soils.